Hi everyone, thank you very much for watching this video. This one is going to be much more chilled out, relaxed. It's just going to be a process of some digital drawings that I've done recently of some fantasy merchants, because obviously I have a thing for drawing fantasy people all the time, and they're all based on, well, two of them are based on like races that I hesitate to say came up with myself, because they're not like original races or anything, but they have my own name and everything. So these first two are they. So we have a merchant from a merchant of the Rogapal, who are my frog people, who everything, obviously, like in every video that, like I say, it's always kind of rooted in like Final Fantasy and a lot of concepts in those games. So the Rogapal are a race of blue mages, and what I'm drawing now is a race that I have recently kind of made more my own. I used to call them the Viera, but I feel confident enough in my designs of them and their concept that they're not that anymore. So now I've called them the Conine, which is a name I think is really cute and like I'm really happy with. So to explain the names very briefly, I guess, Rogapal is just from frog and people, and Conine is a combination of two words, ko, which as far as I know is the Japanese word for child, and quinine, which is the Irish word for rabbit. So Conine, I thought that was a cute combination of the two, since they're very childlike in appearance and very innocent, very, wholesome creatures. So my concept with them as merchants was kind of along the lines of obviously they would all have the general stores with like healing items and, resting areas and whatever. But then with each race, they would have their own specialities, I guess. Because the Rogapal are a blue mage race, they absorb powers, I guess, by consuming other creatures. So I thought it would be kind of a fun idea if their speciality stores were an amalgamation of like trinkets and knickknacks that they've picked up from other cultures that they then sell for a higher price. But then if it were in like a hypothetical game RPG situation, they might be the only places that you can get those items, like certain rare ones or whatever, and you maybe would have to bargain with them or whatever. But I thought that was kind of like, a cute little way to reference their like magical power. The Conine are also a magical race, in that like they're born from like the earth. They're born from magic, basically. They don't reproduce or anything. So they're very literally from the earth, and everything about them revolves around like nature and the caring of nature. They are excellent gardeners, and they create clothing from plants. Everything is obviously plant-based. They obviously just eat plant stuff. They're really excellent at rejuvenating earth, which has kind of lost its quality. They would bring the nutrients back into it. They would help revive dead plant life. And basically they would help to kind of restore drained earth, basically, and bring kind of life back into it. So for them, I thought that their speciality shops would be obviously revolving around like selling plants, or selling food, fresh produce for cooking, plants for alchemy, also for creating dyes and stuff for clothing. They would probably produce a lot of light armor or again in a in a game setting, they would have like a lot of kind of very light clothes to purchase or customize. They would probably have like small weapons stores as well for like bows, magical arrows maybe, and maybe like small knives and things. The Ragapal wouldn't really sell their own weapons. They would obviously just sell weapons that they had accumulated from the other cultures. I do actually at this point quickly just want to say, now that the colouring has started, when I start colouring the Cooneen character, I was so indecisive with the colour scheme. I thought I knew what I wanted, but when I did it, it didn't work, and I started playing around with colours, but it kind of happens very quickly. So the colours do tend to like flash a little bit. I'd have put a warning up on the screen at some point just before it happens, but just so you're aware before it happens, if that's something that like bothers you. Just so you know, I kind of scroll through colours very, very quickly. And I'm not really sure why I had such trouble colouring her, because I did have my initial idea here where she had like, dark hair and a light dress, and she just didn't stand out from the background enough. So I was playing around a lot with that, and I'm kind of happy with the end result. I kind of wish that it had worked out the way I had it in my head. But these things happen, trial and error. You just kind of have to make do with what works rather than, what you're stuck on in your head. So yeah, the flashing will kind of start now. So just so you know, you can skip ahead if you like. So the next one that I'm going to draw will be a black mage, but that's obviously not like an original race or anything. But I had another race of characters, and I have mentioned them before in my videos, called the Faleshka, which are my magical cat race people. And I really wanted to do a merchant drawing of one of them as well, but I got so frustrated with the colour scheme of my Cooneen character, and then kind of a little bit like uncertain about how I wanted things to go with the black mage as well. So when I finished that, I kind of felt a little bit burnt out. So I haven't done my Faleshka, but maybe one day, maybe I'll do another one. And if you're ever interested in seeing kind of like my drawings or whatever, I'm much more active on Instagram. So generally a lot of what I post online will end up there, and I don't always obviously make videos out of those, but feel free to find me there if you want to kind of keep seeing similar stuff. So as you can see, I can kind of I settled on this colour scheme with the Cooneen, where she had like this cute little pink dress. I felt like I had to give her the white hair to stand out from her stall, which is fine. I feel like it could have ended up a little bit brighter than it did. I kind of wanted to have more of like a bright, flowery, pinky kind of colour scheme, but yeah, like I say, these things happen and it's not the end of the world. She's still cute. So that's kind of all that I need to say for these lads, and I'll let this part finish on its own, and then I'll come back to you with the black mage. Right, so here we are at my black mage character. The concept for their design I came up with quite a few years ago. I also realised that a lot of the time when I talk about all of these characters, I repeat myself a lot with information that I've said on other videos, but I guess I'm just reiterating it for the benefit of people who obviously haven't seen my videos before. So if you've heard all about it, you know, whatever, feel free to mute it. The concept of the black mages, in how I've interpreted them, is very inspired, I think, by the Bedouin people. That kind of very, I don't even really know how to describe it. Like, already as it is, the type of clothing that they wear looks incredibly like magical and very like rich and very like, I don't even know how to describe it properly. It's just, I love it so much. So I kind of wanted to incorporate a little bit of that into my black mages, that's all. But still keeping with that traditional Final Fantasy-esque notion of the big glowing yellow eyes that kind of pop out amidst all of this like dark, like in this dark figure. The other design, main design aspect that I have in these black mages is that the idea is when you see them, they're obviously completely dressed in black. There's pretty much no other colour, maybe a little bit of grey or silver, but that's it, nothing. It's all very, very dark, except when they open their cloaks, or if you know, if they're walking around or whatever. And then the lining, the inside lining of their clothing is incredibly like bright, but to a point where it's like, you know, it's imbued with magic. So it's glowing. They all have like different colours, so incredibly bright. That's the part where I was having trouble with the colouring later. But I just kind of wanted to capture that like wonderment of, you know, seeing this person who think like, oh wow, there's nothing particularly stand outish about their outfit except it's just all black, and then it's through their movement or through them opening their clothes that you realize that, oh my god, there's like, their magic is literally infused with, their clothing is literally infused with their own magic. And I find it really difficult to actually draw or colour to express what I have in my head, because in my head it's way more fantastical, and you know, I kind of feel like it would only really work in animation where patterns and things would like move and kind of slide across their clothing and everything would be very almost cosmic looking. That's the best way I can describe it, I think. And I don't feel like I ever do it justice, what's in my head. And I don't feel like I obviously do the Bedouin culture and their style or their fashion, their traditions and everything justice either. I couldn't possibly do that, but you know, in the meantime, you know, it's kind of fun to do something that has that little splash of colour in something kind of so generally like dark colour wise, but anyway, yeah, so my idea for this merchant is taking advantage of that, where they will use their magic to basically kind of blow their cloaks up into the air, I guess, and then you realise that like their wares are lining the insides of their capes or cloaks or whatever you want to call them. And I just thought that was a cute idea, rather than doing another like shop stall. I thought this would be a much kind of like easier way for them to transport all of their stuff as well. Because in my mind they're a nomadic race as well, so I guess, I don't know, a lot of these things I don't really think through. I just kind of like have a first idea and I'm like, yep, that I like that, I'm gonna go with that. But anyway, so here she is, my black mage merchant. I'm pretty happy with how she came out. I think I do prefer the first two, but I'm still pretty happy with myself for all of the little details in all of these merchants, because normally I would not spend that amount of time on it. But yeah, anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching again. I really hope you enjoyed it and that you managed to pull through my stuttering and rambling. So I'll see you in the next video, and thank you. Bye.